Laodicea lay about 40 miles east of Ephesus, near the banks of the river Lycus. There were at least 6 cities called Laodicea at the time, so it was often referred to as Laodicea on the Lycus. It was founded by Antiochus of Syria around 250 BC and named after his wife Laodice. Laodicea became a rich and prosperous city, a centre of banking and finance, and famous for the soft, black glossy wool from its sheep. It was so wealthy that when it was struck with an earthquake in AD 60, unlike many other cities, it needed no financial help from Rome to rebuild. The church in Laodicea must have been founded early on, probably while Paul was living at Ephesus, and most likely through the ministry of Epaphras, according to Paul's letter to the nearby Colossians. Paul mentions Laodicea 5 times in this letter, including another letter he also wrote to the church, which has been lost to history. Sadly, it's the only one of the 7 churches about whom Jesus doesn't have a good word to say. He tells them they've become complacent in their comfortable lifestyle. And Paul, in his letter to the Colossians, speaks of the struggle he had for the Laodiceans. He wanted them to reach all the riches of full assurance, of understanding, and the knowledge of God's mystery, which is Christ. Laodicea was a rich and prosperous city, and in such a place it could be easy for the church to ignore its true spiritual riches. And perhaps 30 years earlier, Paul had begun to see the rot set in at Laodicea. Jesus speaks about 2 further aspects of the church which are reflected in the city. Firstly, the warm spring water. Laodicea had been sited on a strategic trade route, but not close to a water source, so it arrived through several miles of underground aqueduct, which meant the water was lukewarm when it arrived. Now this contrasted with the hot springs at nearby Hierapolis and the cold, refreshing water at Colossae. For Jesus, the church was like the city's water supply, lukewarm and sickly to the taste, and so neither use nor ornament to him. Secondly, Jesus refers to the ointment for which Laodicea had become famous. The city was a leading medical centre for eye treatment in the ancient world. One of its most famous graduates produced a reference work which was still in use up to the Middle Ages. Laodiceans' Phrygian powder was exported throughout the world to treat eye diseases, and with no small trace of irony, Jesus calls out the church for its spiritual blindness, offering them as a cure his own salve to anoint their eyes.